Good evening, YouTube. It's just after 6 o'clock my time here. I wanted to do a video today on something I read about in the news. A French girl, either age 18 or 19, they didn't say, but they told us the year that she was born, but didn't tell us which month. So she was either 18 or 19. Committed suicide on live feed, live video. This was after 2 hours of live videos complaining about her ex-boyfriend who had raped her. And then she threw herself underneath the commuter train as it was coming. So I want to talk about suicide. I looked up some numbers. There are roughly 42,000 suicides in the U.S. every year. I then looked up the deaths from every major conflict the U.S. has ever been in, from the Revolutionary War until today. And if you add up all the military deaths, that's either in combat or a result from, they classified it as other, but total deaths, service deaths. If you add all those numbers up, we've had 1.35 million people die in every conflict. Now, the U.S. has been around for about 240 years, so that's only 5,500 people dying per year is the average. Now, I know some years there's no war, nobody's dying. Other years there's major war, a lot of people dying. I broke it down. Not counting all U.S. involved wars minus World War I, World War II, and the Civil War. Not counting those three. But if you add everything else up, that's the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, Korean, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, the First Gulf War, Bosnia, Kosovo, Somalia, all of it. Every conflict that we've been in. And we've been in a conflict at least one or two every 10 years, it seems like. But if you take out World War I, World War II, and Civil War, and add up everybody else, you're still less than the 42,000 a year. I'm talking grand total. Okay? Like Revolutionary, 25,000 people. War of 1812, 15,000. Mexican-American War, 13,000. Spanish-American War, 2,000. Korean War, 36,000. Vietnam, 58,000. Yeah, when you add that up, it will equal more than 42,000. But based on the number of years, like the Vietnam War, 58,000 people died over a 20-year span. They classify the Vietnam conflict and war from 1955 to 1975. And 58,000 people died. That's about 3,000 people a year. Only 3,000 a year. Afghanistan, you're only looking at about 125 people a year. 125, not 1,000. Just 125 a year. Iraq was about 570 a year for the 7 years it was going on. The Gulf War was only a year long, so it was 294. That's it, just 294. Now, World War II had 405,000 people die. Total. 405,000 Americans die. That's about 100,000 a year. World War I had 116,000 people, U.S. servicemen die. Or about 58,000 a year. And the Civil War had 750,000 Americans lost their lives. That's 187,000 a year. That is high numbers. But then again, the Civil War was America versus America. 42,000 people a year. That's the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. They said For every one death, there's 25 people attempting it. For every one death. Now, I don't know where they came up with this number. The website I found said it costs the U.S. about $44 billion a year. Suicides do. How do you put a price on a life? Okay, I understand they could have made, had they lived, they could have made this much money over, or they could have worked this much money or this much time making this much money for whatever company or whatever. Or are they talking about the time it takes the police to respond to it, to clean up the mess, do the investigations, and all that? But like I said, how do you put a price on life? It costs way more than $44 billion. To me, one death. There's no price for it. One life. One life, there's no price for it. Put this in perspective. Gun violence. The homicide rate. Homicides, there's only 11,000 deaths a year are caused by, homicides are caused by guns. 11,000 a year. Total homicides is 16,000. So that means the 5,000 a year, people are killing people some other way. A knife, a car, or running somebody over on purpose. Whatever the homicide is. 11,000 of them are with guns. That's still a lot less than 42,000 suicides. But yet we stress over these deaths with a gun. 11,000 people. As if the 42,000 doesn't matter. We need to reach out to young people because the majority of these suicides are between the age of 15 and 25. Where they're starting out their life, their first crush, their first boyfriend, girlfriend, their first time away from home, and when they fail, they think their world is over, and they kill themselves. We need to reach out to people. We need to let people know that there are others out there that care. There are others out there that have gone through the same things. You will survive through it. Okay, this woman in France, she was raped. I guess she wasn't getting justice fast enough, or maybe she was getting dogged by it, by her friends and stuff, saying, oh, you're just, maybe you're lying, or maybe it was just so traumatic that her once boyfriend did that something inside of her snapped, and she couldn't live with it anymore. That's why we need to reach out to these people. We need to let people know that others have gone through what you've gone through. You're not the first and only one to have gone through what you went through. You may feel like that. You may feel isolated, but you're not. There are others out there that have gone through just as bad, if not worse, things. There are people that can relate. There are people that, like myself, I've gone through some bad relationships, but not to the point where I really wanted to kill myself. I survived through these things. I was picked on at school because I was smart. I was picked on for being a nerd. And I isolated myself. So come prom time, I didn't know how to ask people. I didn't know how to ask a girl to prom. I was kind of shy. I was naive. I wasn't presenting myself properly. I wasn't open enough to the rejections. And in life, you will get rejected for your job. You'll get rejected for relationships. You'll get rejected for credit. You'll get rejected for a lot of stuff. But don't let it bring you down. There are people that will help. There are people that care. You may not know those people yet, but there are people out there that do care and will listen to you. Alright? Because these numbers, I'm looking at this sheet, and I wrote a bunch of numbers down. This is This just blows my mind. 42,000 people per year. That means it was 42,000 in 2014. There's another 42,000 in 2015. There's going to be another 42,000 this year. Unless we start... That was just the U.S. I don't know what Europe has. I don't know what Asia has. But we need to reach out to these people. We need to reach out to each other and say enough's enough with suicide. Okay? If anyone is thinking suicide, now I know I only have a small group that see this. Someday this will hopefully goes big. But if you are experiencing something like this, if you are going through hard times, if you think that your life isn't worth living anymore, you have lots of life left. One day is a lot of life. Okay? 2 days, a lot of life. A week left, a lot of life. Okay? There was one report of this woman. She thought she was dying, and she was taking care of her adult age child, yeah, who had a lot of problems, mental problems, physical problems, couldn't take care of themselves. And this woman that was taking, the mother, thought she was dying, so she created this concoction of drugs, fed it to her in the feeding tube of her daughter, killing the daughter, took the rest of it herself. She ended up living. She was charged with manslaughter. The mother ended up living. I don't know what she was going through where she thought she was dying, but she was worried about, how is this person going to survive without me? She tried committing suicide. After she had fed the drugs to her daughter, she tried taking the drugs herself, but she lived. Okay. There are people out there that will help, that can help. Hold on! Sorry, my dog's calling me. Okay? I'm going to let you go. This is a serious topic, and I want to talk about it because people don't talk about it enough. You see on the news, gun violence. You see on the news, war. Servicemen going over there and dying. No boots on the ground in Somalia, in Syria. No boots on the ground against ISIS because we don't want Americans dying. But yet there's 42,000 people dying every year from suicide. Look at the people that died recently from suicide. Okay? I'm sure there's family, friends that did, that you've had in the past. Robin Williams committed suicide because he couldn't see himself with the disability he was getting, with the problems he was getting in his life. So he decided to end it. Michael Hutchinson, lead singer of NXS back in the 80s, he committed suicide. And he had the world going for him. He had his girl, I can't remember his girlfriend or his wife. I don't know if they were married or if not, but he was expecting his first child. His band was just about to go on a world tour, and he committed suicide. I had a supervisor in the military commit suicide because I guess the command was putting pressure on him, and they were talking about punishing him and putting him in reduction in rate. For those that don't know, that means demoting my supervisor. And he committed suicide. Now, I don't know if it was family problems he had, whether it was work-related, whether it was both, but he felt that his life was over. We need to reach out to people. We need to start telling each other, what you're going through is okay. You can work through this. Life does get better. Alright, we need to start helping each other out. There's 42,000 people a year. That's family. That's family tree branches that will never grow. And what if Einstein's mother committed suicide when she was a teenager? We wouldn't have had Einstein and his theory of relativity and anything. So please take care of each other. My next topic hopefully won't be so grim. There's a lot going on in the world. So stay tuned in. A lot of things happening. And like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see you later.